Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. This is the kind of video I really didn't want to have to make, but it happens. And sometimes when you are a gardener, you lose stuff. There's plants that die. It can be for a variety of reasons. And that's what this video is about. This particular one is a Blue Arrow Juniper. And I did a big video about it, about thinking about how great of a plant this would be in this location. And I was completely wrong because it has died. But I don't really know why it has died. And the other one that's just like it has also died. So that tells me that there's a couple of things that could be going on. It could be something to do with the site. It could be a pest or disease type issue going on with it as well. So in this video, I'm going to actually remove these and we're going to get to the bottom of this and see what is damaging these plants. As you can tell, this one is probably beyond saving, and I believe the other one is as well. So I actually have something else planned to put in their place that I hope is going to be a much better option for this particular site. So let's check it out. We'll take a look. I'm going to go ahead and pull these up and we'll see what happened with these Blue Arrow Junipers. So here's what the Blue Arrow Juniper looks like up close. You can see that all the foliage is brown, that it just is very dried out and just not looking good. I don't really see anything that's indicating like a mite. Spider mites are a typical problem for these, but I don't really see any spider mites or anything that would indicate those type of insects. What I've noticed about its growth is it is browning from the inside of the tree coming outward. And so for a while, a lot of these things were still green. In fact, if we hop over to the other one, you'll notice that a lot of the foliage at the very tips is still on the green side, but the interior is all dying back. Most likely it is something to do with the root system that is causing that problem. One thing I have noted, and we'll see if this actually holds out, is I can see these little holes at the bottom. We have a pretty significant rodent population in this area. Our house was built in a field basically where there wasn't anything here before, and so there are a lot of voles and small rodents in the area. So I think that that could be a potential problem where maybe they are eating at the roots. So we'll dig this up and we'll check it out and see what it looks like. All right, so you'll probably also note another problem I'm dealing with here is nut sedge, which has just been insane to try to handle. But we'll talk about that some other time. So for this one, I don't think I'm going to have any trouble pulling this out. And that's kind of disappointing because it means the root systems really haven't gone anywhere. And that's what we're seeing. So let's see if there's any indication of anything on these roots. They haven't really gone anywhere. They're not pot bound. You can see they've definitely stretched out a bit here. The roots themselves are pliable still. There's a spot or two where they've definitely been gnawed on. I can see some areas where that has happened. I'm going to check the crown. Move this away a bit, see if anything has... Yep. There's some spots here where I can see into the wood. And then there's a insect that's coming out of it right here where it looks like something had been boring into that. So I'm going to pull away some of this dirt and see what happens. So I do see some spots where there's some damage on the roots. It doesn't look like something that a normal healthy tree probably couldn't have overcome. But I'm also wondering if maybe this spot was too dry for it, because it's pretty close to our house. It may not be getting the moisture content it needs. The Blue Arrow Juniper generally is going to need an area that is extremely well drained, but also it's got to have enough moisture in order for it to grow. And it may not be getting that in this location. So in digging in the ground here, it's dry, but it has some moisture in it. So it's really hard to tell what the potential problem can be. There are some root rots that could be an issue, but these little branches here do not seem very damaged from root rot. But I definitely see, like right here, where it looks like some of the bark that the outer coating that's right here on the roots has been chewed on or diminished. There's a spot there where a branch is broken, but that could have been pulling it out. Now, but I'm going to go to the crown here, pull this apart a little. And I've got some sort of little bugs in it. But it's hard to tell if they are a cause or just opportunistic insects coming to already rotted wood. If I had to guess, I would probably say this is probably some kind of a root rot that is happening. There's an earwig coming out. So it is really hard to say. Without actually sending off something to a pathologist, I'm not sure I will ever truly know, but I can definitely see some root damage here that where these have been gnawed on in the past. There's like a cut right there. So I do think that maybe the voles may have been a small factor, or maybe larger than small factor. But in any case, unfortunately, we've lost these plants. This is the other one that's a little bit more alive still at the moment. You can see the green foliage right here, but if you look just a little below it, we've got this. That's a bagworm. We need to get rid of those, and I'm just going to pull them off, and then I'll destroy this. I'll probably just step on it or cut up into it. These are very hard to break into, and if you spray at a certain time of the year, you can prevent these from happening. This is the only one I'm seeing on this particular plant, so I wouldn't say that this is the cause of this plant dying, but it's definitely not going to help it. Okay, so let's take a look at this other one and see what kind of a state it's in. See if this gives us any insight as to what's going on. Pull away a little of that dirt. And it was definitely stretching out, but I'm seeing here little root damage. And it's hard for me to know if this is 100% rodent or if it was me pulling it out when I was pulling it out. Let's see. Yeah, that one snapped. So it was doing better than the other one, but it was still on its way out. There's a bit of damage at the crown, and it's very possible that what happened is that I may have planted them and then they settled, and then the crown might not have been in the right situation at that point where it was under the soil. So perhaps it should have been up a little higher. I also think maybe I could have put in some better drainage underneath these. Maybe some bark chips or something like that to raise them up a little bit and help with their drainage. But I'm not seeing anything really obvious here. And without sending it to a pathologist lab, I'm not sure I will ever really know what has killed these. But they just are not looking good. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to call the results of this test inconclusive. I really can't say for sure what has caused them. The roots did not look really crazy. The crown of the root looks like it could have had a little bit of a rot setting in at that point, but it also very well could have been some rodent damage along the way too. There are a couple of rot issues that happen if the plants are not sited correctly, and that could be a very big contributing factor. They might have dried out too much at some point. We might have had a drought period that created stress, and then all of a sudden they just couldn't handle everything. So unfortunately, I think I've determined that this is not the right place for those Blue Arrow Junipers, and that's kind of an expensive test there to figure that out. I've got something better planned to put in these locations, and that will probably be my next video, and I'll tell you about those plants when I get to that. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting, and I hope you find a better location than I did if you choose to plant Blue Arrow Juniper. Thanks for watching.